Hello everyone, it's Ellen and welcome to my channel. Have you ever wondered how to paint large watercolor flowers? You know, you have a nice big pad of paper and you're like, it's very intimidating to paint them large, but I'm going to show you in this demonstration how I would do it, what tools I use, the techniques I use, and it's, you know, I think it's pretty simple, but it does take a little time and energy and effort, but eventually you'll get there. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Let me know what kind of things you're struggling with watercolor. Are you struggling to paint large flowers? How about small flowers? Realistic flowers or loose flowers? All these things I'd love to hear about. Leave a comment below and hopefully we can talk about what you can do to improve. Also, check out my Patreon. I have ad-free videos, traceables, exclusive tutorials on Thursdays, and a live stream in the top tier. It's just a place people go and support my channel, which I appreciate so much. And I give you extra things that are not on YouTube and things that can kind of go with YouTube. You can check it out in the little blip that comes in the corner right here. Boop. So without further ado, let's get painting large watercolor flowers. So as I said in the intro, I'm going to go over like the techniques I use to create these loose, large florals. You know, it's best to use bigger brushes and bigger florals. Smaller brushes will never achieve this, sorry. And like I said, it's on a bigger piece of paper. This is a 10 by 14 pad of Arch 100% cotton cold pressed paper. See it right there? I didn't tape it down or anything like that. I'll be using this very big. It's a Royal and Langnickle, a jumbo. I got this at the Michaels, I think. It's number 30. Just a big, like oval kind of brush, right? I'll be playing around with another oval brush. All the things I use will be in the description box. And then I'll be using like my 6 long round and my 8 long round, maybe my filbert number 8. Like I said, they'll all be in the description box. And basically, I'm just going to show you a demo of how I do this. You know, I have a bunch of water jars up here. I have this big tin I used first. What I did is I grabbed some of this neutral tint here, color. This is just other paints I have in here. It's always good to use all the kind of crazy paints that you have dried up. And I just kind of washed it like this a little bit. Move some of my paints out of the way. And I might just grab a little pink on that. So it's like a pink kind of gray. And then I'm going to dip it back in the water. Oh, got a little paint right there. And I'm just going to do these simple marks. I put some more water on my brush. So you see me holding it like this. I'll be going like this, twisting and twisting and twisting. Pushing, twisting, twisting. Now I feel like it's a little too dark, so I'm going to grab more water and tap it on my paper towel to remove some of the color. I'm leaving white space in between, tapping on paper towel and grabbing some more water again. See? Just going like this, kind of twisting it, pushing down on the color. Just to get that first initial wash. I'm going to go back in and grab a more pinkish kind of paint mixed in with that gray. And this one's going to probably come out different than the first one I did, obviously, because you can never do the same thing twice. You can only try. And see how I'm just kind of tapping and I'm leaving white space and I'm twisting. I feel like I didn't leave enough white space in between here, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm not going to repeat. So I'm just kind of twisting, tapping. Go back and dip my brush in water. I'm just going to come in and make these marks. Kind of having this flower. See? Going out here with some lines, more linear, flat. Grabbing more water. This is a lot of fun to play with a really big brush like this. Now, obviously, if you're just beginning kind of doing this kind of stuff, it's not going to be, you can't expect to do this stuff right off the bat, people. It's not going to happen. Not even I could do it right off the bat. You just got to keep practicing. Now, it would be kind of pricey to practice on pricey paper, but then you'll know how to paint it correctly, you know, with the wet on wet. See? I'm doing more like little linear lines here. Back in here. I'm leaving the white space in the center. And adding more color out here. You see what I'm doing here? And then I'm going to add another little small one kind of over here. Like I did in the other one. I might be a little bit different than the first one I did. Obviously, I'm not going to repeat myself. I'll do my best to show you how I did it. Maybe these are a little more gray. Just in these tones right here, it's kind of really pretty, right? So it's gray with a little pink tone to it. And I'm only using this tin right now just for this particular gray color first. And then I'm just going to put it away. So these are kind of really big, kind of, woo, banging around here, guys. Just little kind of funky flowers, just like that. See, I'm just twisted like that. Boom. So I've got the first wash down that I'm going to do. And I'm going to mix up some rose color, maybe a little brilliant orange in here. It's kind of a blushy kind of tone. And then I'll water that down. Now, you can kind of go back in while it's still damp, but I did wait for it to pass a little bit, get a little drier. I'm trying to remove some of the color in my brush. So it's just pale. See, I'm going to go back in and just kind of touch it. See, I'm just kind of twisting, touching the little color here. Another pass. Just another pass. This one's probably more dry than the other one. I'm just adding in some really nice light pink tones. You cannot do the same thing twice. I'm going to do more of a blush kind of scenario. I'm going to add a little more orange to this and see what happens. There. I've gone in and did some more lines. It's still very wet. So I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. Turn, twist, twist. Tap, turn, twist. It can get a little more colorful. Do a little more marks like this. Still using this big old brush. Doing all those kind of taps. Okay, so at this point, go back and add some more pink too. Water just now. I would probably let some of this dry and then come back again. I'm just going to add some more pink tones. It was looking a little too orangey. Okay. But I still want to get a little more line, kind of linear marks. Okay. At this point, I would take another brush. Maybe I grab my oval. I don't have to grab an oval, whatever. Kind of, it could be like a big old number 12 here, Neptune series round. And I mixed up some greens. I'm just going to play around with, okay, some peacock blue. I'm going to grab some peacock blue. Some more aqua kind of green. It's pretty, right? Bluish green. And I'm just going to make some circular, almost like a eucalyptus kind of circle leaves going off the page here. Mixed too many colors in that one, but you get my drift, you know. Just make a circle, circular, not circle. Sorry. I would wait till those dry. I can do the pass on top of it, so it's layered. See, it's pretty. These are pretty wet. Go up here. Add some more of this color here, and then when they dry, I can do another layer of them also. If you do it when they're wet, it's just going to be this big bleed. So you do want to wait till it dries. Right, in the meantime, grab some yellow and mix it in with some colors, and you make a nice lime green. Still the same brush, it's this oval brush. Hold it on its side. You can make these really kind of cool marks like this. Just adding some greenery. Just brighten it up. Go in between some flowers here. Just adding some more greens that are a little bit different than the first one. And I like to crisscross some of them, make little lines up here. Like I said, you're not going to have the same kind of picture twice. So this picture is not going to look exactly like the first one, and I don't expect it to. And I've added some other color greens here. So I've added some Prussian blue to some of my green. And it's a little bit deeper and darker. You can do more of a real kind of regular leaf, and then, you know, in some places. And then it's kind of fun to take a skinnier brush, like I had the number 6 or number 8 round. Long round, and grab some browns, some deeper greens, mixing up some greens here, just playing on the color, and I do some lines. See, some swiggle lines coming out here, woohoo, back in here, down in here, just kind of wiggle, wiggle, deck down in here. You can make like a leaf shape. I'm just kind of playing with some more linear kind of look. That's what I do. Can add some stems. Now this is still very wet, so you do want to wait till it dries a little bit. And if you want to have this coming out, like, again, even more up in here. Right? I hope you can see this whole thing right now. Okay. So then, while that's still drying, use your linear brush again. You can mix up some yellows and some browns and some like really lime kind of greens. And I'm going to make these stamens in the center here. Now, these are still kind of wet. So I'm bleeding in a little bit of this green, grabbing some yellow cadmium deep. See, I'm just doing this wiggle. This one kind of bled in the center. That's okay. Little wiggles. That's the center part. So you just fill that in. You take the yellows again, the greens, and kind of just do this whole like wiggle up and down thing. You can add a little bit of browns. See, up in here and here. Just a little brown, like kind of like the stamens inside the flower. I like to make a variety of greens and a little bit of yellow, bright yellow, some browns in there. So I'm just moving my brush around. You could have them really kind of almost like little stems coming out like this one. Saying that, and add some brown and a little bit, maybe neutral tint, whatever color works for you. Do the same thing for this one. Now this is still wet, so it's kind of bleeding still, so I have to wait till it dries a little bit. You can also just throw in a little bit of green too. You see, I'm going to put in a little bit of greens. Makes it a little more natural. Just bleeding some of that in. While that's drying, you can go back in with your bigger brush again, with some pinks again. Some little moves. See? So you got some layering going on here. And it can bleed into the yellow a little bit. Just going back in another layer of this pink kind of stuff. Pinky, orangey kind of color tones. Oh, that's a little bright. But you get what I'm saying. See, I'm kind of wisping it. And doing that twisty turny thing also. Just kind of playing around with the color a little bit. And adding some here. Woohoo! A little yellow, a little pink, a little orange. Let's go back in here and make this one a little bit brighter. Again, twisting, turning the brush, and adding that other layer in there. Move this up so you can see more. And depending on what you feel like, you could add it even, make it look darker. I didn't put it so dark on the first one I did, but maybe this one I want to add, make the colors a little bit darker. You know, feel how you want to do it. You can add some little dashes of color up here. Make like almost like little buds. Even using this big old brush. Play around with this. Right? See if I can look at this, another whole another kind of flower up here that doesn't even exist in real life, but it looks pretty, right? Like I said, go back in with the color, play around, adding in some more deeper color, having that bleed a little bit. I like having the wet paper towel as I'm going here. It might bleed on the bottom of your table, so just be careful with that. And see how I'm just kind of twisting the brush and playing around with this. And adding a little bit more, maybe more some color out here. And twisting it. And add some linear marks. So that's that. And then we're going to wait till it dries and go back in and add some little lines, and then we'll be done with it. It's really simple. So now you go back in with the number 6 or 8 long round. Mix up some paint. It's a little bit darker again. And you just do these wiggle lines, kind of like from the flower, maybe around some of the petals and the different layers. See how I'm just wiggling this? Just on the edge of some of the petals. See that? Not everywhere, just in some places. Because, you know, otherwise it looks like, it doesn't look as delicate. It just kind of, see how I'm just kind of going around the little layers on the edges of each little petal in the background and some of these other ones. Just adds like another new depth and touch. And just go around some of these petals here. You can water it down, move it around, play around with this. See, I'm just squiggling, kind of focusing on like one side more than the rest. And then the rest of it, I'll just do a couple little swipes of some of the lines. But you just see how I'm just kind of wiggling my brush. This is not taking much effort. By the way, it's a good idea to stand up and do something like this if it's big. if you're sitting down, you're really not seeing the whole picture of the painting. You're kind of stuck, you know, and also it's very limiting limiting when you're sitting down. See, just kind of wiggling all that fun brush strokes. I can get even a little deeper, a little darker, going towards the center. Maybe have a couple of lines out this way, focusing on more. I didn't focus on that one. Bigger strokes a little bit. All that good stuff. And then you can go back in with your yellows again. Do those little wiggle lines that you might have lost, or the browns. See, I didn't do anything in here. I'll just go back and put those little wiggle lines. Maybe add like a deeper, darker, like a neutral tint color, darker gray, black tone. So you can really see those lines. Some greens. You know, you're playing around with the paint. This is not where you get this paint all civilized and it's all, you know, separated. We're going in and we're having fun, moving all that paint around. Yep, grabbing some bright yellow. Boom, 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 boom. Also a good idea to take some of your paint, your greens, and get this really loose and splatter some of the greens. Grab some yellow and some blue. Play around with that. Out here, here, and for those eucalyptus looking flowers, I just go back in with a deeper kind of green color tone, kind of go in the center of that and kind of connect them. And then remember, we talked about layering them. You can go back, and now that it's dry, put the second layer of a eucalyptus on top of that one, you know, on this one if you wanted to. See, you can layer it now, which you couldn't do before. It was kind of just going to bleed into each other. And really that's it. And sometimes I recommend to get some sections a little bit darker. I'm going to grab some more of this blue, Prussian blue. So I might go in here and make this a little bit darker and highlight some of the petals a little more. As you can see here, it's a little bit deeper. Just kind of playing around with some deep greens. Maybe down in here. It just adds another layer of interest. But I'm just doing this really fast, really loose. Just get used to moving your hand around, different brushes. You know? That's all it takes. It's really that simple. So that's it. And if you want to compare the two, you see the first one I did and the second one I did for the demo. The first one, I left a lot more white space, you see, here and then here. So you can play around with that kind of, you know, composition if you want them tighter, more space, more color. This one's a little lighter, this one's a little darker. I might actually go back in and make more dark tones in this one. And I left more white space in here. So, you know, actually they kind of look good together, don't they? So let me know if this is something you're interested in, if you wanted to learn more about loose, larger watercolor flowers. It's just something that I want you guys to play with. And standing up really helps, by the way. And using bigger brushes obviously helps right away. So don't expect to do it, you know, right out of the gate, but it's a lot of fun to try and practice, you know. I'm actually going to try and work on some really big ones, and hopefully I'll show you some of that soon. But yeah, it's fun to do big because we're so used to painting small flowers. The bigger flowers are kind of cool and different to try. So thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you guys are staying cool. It's pretty hot out here. I don't know where it is where you are, but I think the whole country is steaming up right now anyway. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Speak to you soon.